Hi guys, I just wanted to make a follow-on video for my one that I made last week around triggers, which is around how you are responsible for how you feel and how you react. And I've had a couple of emails since of people asking, well, what am I meant to do when somebody is being deliberately nasty towards me? Great question. First of all, let me make something clear. Just because you're responsible for how you feel and how you react, this does not give other people a license or permission to start walking around and speaking and treating you like shit. That is absolutely not my message here. And nor is there an expectation that everybody has to become emotionless robots and be not triggered by anything and rise above everything emotional. That is absolutely not the message. So anyway, if you are involved in something at the moment where somebody is seemingly being deliberately nasty towards you, I'm going to give 3 quick tips that might help add some context to it. So first of all, are you absolutely sure that they're doing this deliberately? When we feel hurt and when we feel angry, it's very easy to make assumptions around the other person's motive and what they're really trying to do. So have you had the conversation? Have you told them how you feel? Have you expressed how you feel? Have you told them how much it hurts you? Have you asked them if they're doing this deliberately? Until you know the answers to these questions, please don't assume that the other person is categorically deliberately doing this thing to hurt you. Tip number 2. If you're in a relationship, or it could be a family relationship, could even be a friendship, it could be a spouse, could be partner, whatever. If you're in that type of relationship and you feel like you're in the receiving end of deliberate nastiness, then I would hazard a guess there's probably a barrel of unexpressed emotion. And what you both need to do is sit down and have the conversation that really needs to happen. When people aren't completely transparent with each other, these things start building up over days, weeks, months, even years. And before you know it, they're just throwing poisonous darts at each other. They're niggling at each other. They're having these bickering fights. They're randomly pissing each other off, which is seemingly coming out of nowhere. That's because they're not having the conversation that really needs to happen. So if this is something that is going on with you at the moment and it feels that there's no provocation for it, then sit down and have the conversation that truly needs to be said. And tip number 3, when you see somebody being deliberately nasty and it's seemingly for no reason, the other person is doing that because they've still been triggered. You're on the receiving end of their trigger. Now, this is where it gets complex because it might be something that you've done absolutely nothing. I'll give you an example of that. It might be that you're really successful. It could be that you're making loads of money. It could be that you're really good looking. It could be that you've got a great body. It could be that you're really popular. Your success can trigger other people's insecurities, and other people's insecurities can make stories going on in their head that makes them, it highlights in their head that maybe they're a failure or they're not as good as you or they're not good enough. And to make themselves feel better, they try and bring you down. So they start throwing negative comments at you or being actively nasty towards you. What you're on the receiving end of is their trigger, which you physically can't control unless you choose to compromise your successes to make other people feel better around you, which I never ever recommend. So fundamentally, if this is something that is going on, then it's such a complicated topic. There's so many different variables that could be triggering this. But if somebody's being mean to you and it seems that there's no reason for it, there is a reason for it, but it's just finding out what that real reason is. And this is why it's so important to understand about your own triggers, because it increases your own self-awareness and it increases your own balance to understand what type of things get you going. But understanding other people's triggers makes you more robust to being hurt by them, because if you can see somebody else being triggered and throwing nasty comments at you because you triggered their insecurity, then it helps them not absorb that and make it something about you and personal to you, because the problem really stems from them. I hope this was helpful. I hope it wasn't too deep. I'd love to hear your comments below. If you like it, give me a quick like. If you think it'll benefit other people, please share it, and I'll speak to you soon. Cheers.